Hope everyone is doing well today. Let me go back and say hi to everyone. May, look at you sporting your blue. Hello, Robo Granny, Curiosity, that girl. Kara, hello. Let's see. I'm in StreamYard, you guys, so I'm not going to be able to see everything that's going on. Mods, it's real simple. Just don't let anyone be an asshole. Hey, April, Sugar Pie. Beth, I'm so glad you guys are here. Hopefully, some more people will start pouring in. I think everyone's tied up with that crazy Alex Murdaugh trial. I watched a little bit of it. Of course, my favorite parts of it were like the pathologist and the science part of it because that's my jam. Hello, Jackie, mom of two. Thank you for being here. Heavens, baby, you did so good on your first live yesterday. Everyone, give a round of applause for Heavens, baby. Um, that's why I rescheduled last minute yesterday. I didn't want to take away from hers. Everyone was having such a good time there, so I wanted to let her have her time to shine. Those first lives can be pretty monumental. It's a learning process when you get up here doing this. I'm still not completely comfortable with it. But I mean, you get the hang of it. And then I could tell, towards the end that people were coming in trying to rattle her, which she held strong. She did her thing and we'll be there for the next one. So don't let anything discourage you. Just keep up the good work and we'll be there. Hello, Sarah Smiles. So it's Friday. Pretty excited. This week has been exhausting for me. My day starts at 4:30. I have a senior in high school who doesn't have her own car yet, so she's still, she's going to ride the bus. They go to school an hour away, and both of my girls go to two different schools. One's 30 minutes away, one's a little less than an hour, but they're in two completely different directions. So driving them is not an option. Um, so she rides the bus and she's survived it. A lot of people might think, oh my gosh, you're making your senior ride a bus. Well, yeah, she wants to buy her own car. And actually, she'll be getting a car for her graduation present. But she wants to make sure that she's going to be able to pay for her insurance and her gas and all of that. So I'm going to let her do that. That's the best decision I could make for her, is to allow her to make those adult choices. So today is just going to be something kind of fun. At least it's going to start out that way. It could get a little dramatic towards the end. Who knows? Because I was going to do this Ask Me Anything a couple of months ago, and just everyone was getting sick at my house and I just never got around to it. So I had some questions submitted then, and then I got some questions this time around. I did have people email some to me. So, kind of what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the fun stuff and we're going to save the heavy stuff till the end, because if there's anything important that I can share from my perspective, I want that to be the last thing that people hear. And for them to, like, you don't need to think about what my favorite color is all night. But if I say something that resonates with you regarding some of the stuff going on around here in our community, then I would rather you think on that for the rest of the night. So, basically, I don't want anyone coming in. If you're a mod, if anyone comes in trying to dox anybody, or now when it gets to, I guess, the drama part of the questions, I don't know what to call it. It's a mess, actually. Um, I'm not going to be really mentioning any names. I'm not going to call people out because some people could be subs and, their hands aren't clean either. So I don't really want to call anyone out by name. Whatever I talk about, if it involves them, that person will know. They'll know what I'm talking about. This isn't to embarrass anybody or single anyone out or make anyone feel bad. But in certain situations, I will not be mentioning anyone names. I don't want anyone coming in the chat and trashing anyone either. I know everyone says it. We want this to be a safe place, and I do. I've always had a very chill chat, and I like it that way. I don't like a bunch of problems. Who wants a bunch of problems to deal with? It sucks. Hello, Dark to Light, John Cena. Let me see if anyone else snuck in on me. It's pretty quiet. I'm surprised how quiet it is around the little community today. But like I said, it's the trial. And I don't know what you guys are thinking about that trial. But if I were Alex Murdaugh, I would have sat my ass right back on the other side of that table and not got up on that stand. Because he is, he's a hot mess up there. And he's very like combative. He has this arrogance about him. Like, I don't know. I don't like him. I don't like him. I think he was a horrible witness in his own trial, and he should have probably quit while he was ahead. So, if you weren't around with me last year, I think it was sometime last summer, I did an Ask Me Anything. It was like the first summer I had started, and it was fun. People asked me all kinds of questions. At that point, I hadn't been on long, so I didn't get hit with some of the same kind of questions that I got hit with this time around. Um, and that's understandable. I don't openly talk about a lot of the crap that's going on. It's just easier that way. So we'll start. One person, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna call out people who asked what. But the person who asked me what I look like, I almost cammed up today, but it's been really hot here all week. Like yesterday, it was like 82, 83, and today it's in the low 60s. So I have messy bun hair, and I'm in yoga pants and a sweatshirt under a cozy blanket, so I'm not camming up. But to answer your question about what I look like, I know that my picture is really dark. It was taken outside, but that is what I look like. My hair is shorter now, but there I am. And I will cam up sometime soon. I've done it before. I can't tell you what videos it was, but I have cammed up a couple of times. I don't like doing it because if I do, I'll sit there and like I'll play with my hair, or I'll notice that my mascara is looking a little Alice Cooperish. I'll fidget with things. And that's just kind of weird. So, okay, here's a good one. What is one of my favorite family traditions? Well, something I did as a child, we would give each, and we still do it to this day. My kids are older now, 20, 18, and 9, but we still do it. On Christmas Eve, we would open, like my mom would do, like the movie boxes. We would get like a VHS tape and some. Remember the Jiffy Pop popcorn that you cooked on the stove? It came in like a little silver tray, and it had a handle. And then as it popped, you would get like the big foil bubble on top. We would get a movie. We would get that. We would get like hot cocoa, and that would be our Christmas Eve present. Well, when I got married, they have a Christmas Eve tradition, and it's Christmas ornaments. So each year, everyone gets a special ornament that like best reflects their personality. Like my son has ornaments that are like video game controllers and um, like different characters from games or movies. And my daughter got like dance stuff, and then my mini me gets like unicorns and things like that. But as they grow, you can see like their ornaments change. It's really cool. So what we'll do with their ornaments, We open all of them on Christmas Eve and we put them on the tree. And then whenever they're grown and they move out and they start their own family or they have their first Christmas tree, they'll basically have all the ornaments they need to decorate it. And it's a little thing to remind them of home. So that will probably always be my favorite family tradition. Oh, and the meal tradition on Christmas Eve is chili haystacks, which is Fritos with chili and cheese and sour cream, onions, whatever. I just put out like a big chili bar. So that's the family tradition. Um, the next one, what was I like as a child? Well, um, as a young child, I was very shy. I would hide behind mom's leg and I took stranger danger very seriously. If I didn't know you, I wasn't talking to you. I was just very quiet and observant. When I got to elementary school, I was kind of nerdy. I'm not going to lie. I had big front teeth. I had a lot of freckles and my hair was really long. My mom would not cut my hair. And I remember, I don't know if any of you guys know who Crystal Gale is, but this woman had hair down to her feet. And I used to be so afraid that my mom was going to make me grow my hair out that long. That really bothered me. But she finally let me get it cut around seventh grade, and I have naturally curly hair and made the mistake of getting a perm. So yeah, I went through my awkward stage, like late elementary school, early middle school. By the time eighth grade rolled around, I was starting to, I really kind of came out of my shell all in one fell swoop. I mean, I was a wild child. I have a brother, but he's 7 years older than me. So we were like night and day. He was the good child, and he had a little band that he played, little festivals, and he played in some bars back then. As long as my parents were with him, he could do that. And so they were gone a lot doing stuff with him. And, I was the kid going around. Let's see, I did graffiti. I mean, I did it all. And then when I was 15, we moved to Las Vegas. And from where I grew up, and that was like a culture shock. But when I was in high school out there, um, I hung out with all the skater boys and I went to Grateful Dead concerts. And uh, yeah, I mean, I caused my parents a lot of stress and heartache. I never did anything too terrible, but I like to have fun. And as a young adult, that's when the rave scene rolled around and I was all up in that too. But we live and learn and we grow up and we have babies and life changes. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I was definitely a wild child. To go along with that, someone asked if I played any sports in school. No, I did not play sports. I am short, so I did not make the basketball team. Um, but I was in dance pretty much as soon as I could walk. I was in ballet and things like that. And then when I got to school level, I was on the dance teams. And my senior year, I really nerded out, and I don't know if anyone knows what DECA is. It used to be called DECA in high school. I think they still have it, but it stands for Distributive Education Clubs of America. And I was our school chapter president of DECA. I wrote for the school paper all 4 years. Um, I was in that book, Who's Who Among American High School Students. So I just really kind of got my crap together. Then my sophomore and junior year, I had some issues with an abusive boyfriend. So I kind of slacked off. but I got it together, graduated with honors, and yeah, but no sports, just dance. And both of my daughters followed in my footsteps. They danced too. You didn't play sports, Kara? I don't know. I don't know. I just could never get into sports. I never found one that stuck for me. And like my older daughter, she does soccer and softball and volleyball. So she did more than I did. You played soccer, May? That's awesome. You're super shy voices. Yeah, I really am shy. That's why I don't go live that often. It's a lot. Even though you're not like staring at all the people watching you, it can be a little nerve-wracking. My favorite food. Oh gosh. I love carbs. Um I really love carbs. I love pasta. I could probably eat spaghetti 4 out of 7 days. But I love to cook. I I just love to cook. I don't because right now I go to school and I take care of my kids. When I need extra money, I clean houses, but for the most part, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And there's going to come a time when I do finish school and I go back out in the work field, and that's going to be grueling work. And so right now while I'm at home, I really enjoy cooking, like pulling out recipes and really getting to it. I cook every meal, except on Friday nights we eat out. I get a break then. But yes, it's nothing for me to get up and cook a full breakfast. I just love being in the kitchen. So my favorite food is spaghetti, but I really kind of like all food. Um, let's see. My favorite vacation spot or a vacation spot I would want to go to. My favorite place I've ever been was to Jamaica. It was it was weird how I got to go. When we lived in Las Vegas, there was a place that my mom would get her oil changed, and they had this contest one year. And what they did is every time, or when you would come in and get an oil change for it was like a 2-month span, they would give you one of those antenna balls that you stick on your antenna on your car. And if you're driving around town and one of their employees, because they also had like a parts house and stuff. So if anyone that worked for that company saw your car around town with that antenna ball, then they would get your tag number and they contacted you that you had won a prize. Well, someone saw my mom driving around with her little annoying red antenna ball, and we won a trip for two to Jamaica. And so, seeing as how I had like a really rough, high school thing with my parents because I was so out of control, um, it was good for my mom and I to get away and do that together because my mom's no longer with me. So we created some good memories. Where would I like to go? I would love to go to Ireland because I am part Irish. Um, that's kind of my big dream. I don't know that I would be able to eat there though because they eat some weird things. So I might struggle a little. But I'm pretty much open to go visit anywhere. I just like to see things and learn things. I'm just nosy. Let's see what Kara said. I'm not way smarter. Yes, we are spirit. Kara and I have this inside joke because we always like say the same things, or um something will happen and I'll go to Discord to let everyone know, and she's like beat me to it. So we always have this joke that we're twins. Hey Kentucky, drive safe. Let's see. I got some like funny questions too. but I can't answer them because they're like funny to me, but they're kind of like vulgar, and you could tell they weren't serious questions. Um, let's see. Someone asked me, since I live in the Arklatex, have I ever kayaked on Caddo Lake? No, I have never kayaked on Caddo Lake. I have never kayaked anywhere. I would love to. It's on my bucket list. Um, right up there with parasailing and skydiving, and I would love to do mountain climbing, but unfortunately I have COPD and I just don't think that I could take it. I don't think I could handle it. But nope, I have never kayaked on Caddo Lake. I have, hey little G, um, I have gone fishing on that lake quite a bit. Let's see. Someone would like to know what my most embarrassing moment was. Oh, I'll never forget this. My senior year in high school. Remember, I just told you I was the school chapter president for DECA. Well, you have like your school chapters and then you have like your area chapters. Well, the girl who was vice president for our area in the state had to homeschool. Um, I think I know why, but anyway, she couldn't be the vice president of the area anymore. So my marketing teacher thought it would be a good idea if I ran for that position. And it was really short notice because we had this big convention coming up and we needed a representative there. So I had like, one, I didn't even know how I would have time to do that. Two, I didn't know anything about all that. It was my first year doing this, and it just seemed like a lot. I already had a lot on my plate. So, I mean, I was like, do I want to do this to myself? But she insisted. She wasn't taking no for an answer. So, what she did was there was a student of hers when she taught at another school who had an awesome speech. So, she changed that speech up a little bit and wanted me to read that at the little election thing. Well, I got the speech the day of. I was supposed to be reading it in front of all these people that night. I tripped up. I mean, I fumbled all over the place and I just ran out of the room. That was horrifying to me. And for someone who is already like kind of shy and didn't really, I mean, now if you got me like on a topic, because I was also on the debate team. Now I could get up there and argue and it was like no one else was in the room, but you give me something that I haven't had time to think about or look over, and it was a lot. And I was so embarrassed and humiliated. And I just knew that everyone was going to be talking about it, but no one ever said anything about it. So I survived it, but I'm glad that I've never had anything like that happen since then. Um, let's see. Someone would like to know where my favorite place to relax and chill is. Probably just hanging out with my kids. When everyone's gone during the day, it's like sometimes, even though I have a lot to do, like I find myself looking at the clock a lot. Like, when are they coming home? When are they coming home? It's lonely. But outside of the house, I like to be next to a lake, or, I really like going to the ocean. I love water, just the sounds of water, and not really the lake smell of water because the lakes around here can stink pretty bad. Um, but yeah, I like simple things. I don't like big, huge crowds anymore. No. My favorite hobby. Well, Some people don't know this about me, but I am a very crafty, artsy fartsy kind of person. If any of you have ever ventured out of our little community and you go to like the Dollar Tree channels where they show you how to, like, put it this way, and I've shown pictures in my Discord, I've made like so many wreaths out of like dollar store stuff. I get the wreath forms there. I get all the artificial flowers and tulle and all that there. But I've also made a fall tree out of a toilet plunger. I have made like a lantern out of paint sticks. I've made a windmill out of paint sticks and a pizza stand. Um, yeah, but I do all that. My favorite thing to do is, you know how like those script signs are really popular? Like it'll say, home is where the heart is, or, just little sayings like that. I like to make those, and I have a Cricut. It's brand new, still in its box for like 2 years because I just don't have time to learn how to use it right now. School and life keeps me busy. I'm going to get back to it eventually, but even if I knew how to do that Cricut, I paint everything by hand. I do everything hand lettered, and I can make just about anything. I don't know if some people saw, like, on my community page, I put a picture of my daughter's like little Mardi Gras float that she had to make for school. And yeah, I did that. I painted the letters and pretty much designed. I let her pick out what decorations she wanted on it, but I kind of, helped her along with the idea. Deborah Ann, you'd like to have a Cricut? Yeah, I do need to open my Cricut because I mean, I will be putting I live in an area where where everything's monogrammed, and all the little girls, starting from the time that they have enough hair up through elementary school have bows on them the size of their heads. Yeah. And everything has their monogrammed initials on it, like the little doily collar dresses with their monograms on it. Yeah. Monogram backpacks, diaper bags, band-aids, you name it. So I don't really have a favorite hobby. It's just really making anything with my hands. If my kids come home and say, "Hey mom, I need this made for tomorrow," like I'll whip it out. I'll get some safety pins and toilet paper rolls and construct an Eiffel Tower if they need it. I've always been like that. My kids they're like, how can you write so good? And I've had people, because I used to be the women's ministry leader at my church, and like we had to do newsletters. Well, I would handwrite all of those. Um, and they're like, oh my gosh, it looks like it's typed. But that was because I didn't pay attention in school a lot when I was in like middle school, and I would doodle. And I just like learned how to do all this stuff. Loving Grace, it sounds like the area you're from. Is the area you're from shaped like a boot? My favorite color, let's see. I love just about every shade of gray. I'm more of I like bright colors for other people, but I'm very light complected with red hair and blue eyes. And so bright colors, I don't typically like them for myself. Like, as far as like wall color and stuff, I have various shades of gray. Um, So it just depends on what the color is for. If the color is for clothes, for me, it's probably going to be like in the earth tones or gray or black because I'm short, but I have a bubble butt, and black always makes the bubble appear smaller. Let's see now what. Do I prefer dogs or cats? I love all animals. However, I have an extreme allergy to cats, and it really bothers my breathing. We've tried cats. My mini me really, really wanted a cat, and we tried so hard. And after about 3 weeks, I just couldn't take it anymore. Um, and I could never let the cat really get around me. Also, the one thing I don't like about cats is you have to have a cat who is willing to be trained. I didn't like the idea. The cat we had was hard headed and stubborn, and she was a little bit older, so probably more set in her ways. And I think the people that had her before allowed her to jump on the counters. I couldn't get over the fact that this cat was going around and scratching in a litter box and then had the audacity to jump up on my kitchen counters. And nothing we did would get her to stop. She was just like, screw you, I go where I want to. And she would get up on top of the refrigerator and would just like glare down at me. It was not a good relationship, but we found a loving home, and Mini Me still gets to go visit what used to be her cat. So I have 3 dogs. I have a razor edge pit bull. If you're not familiar with those, Google. They're the big beefy pit bulls that look really, really mean. Mine was when he was born, he was the biggest of the litter. So he's a little bit taller and he's not as stocky yet. And we don't have his ears or tail clipped. So he's a big teddy bear. He loves Mini Me. No one can get near her. He knows what time her bus comes in the afternoons, and he parks his big butt right in front of the doorway and whines until she walks through the door. And if she goes out front to play on the tire swing, he has to sit right in her room and watch her out the window. And if the squirrel gets too close, he starts alerting that something is near his person. Okay, Kara. Yes, exactly, little G. Like, no, you did not. Just go cover up your business and then you're going to come here where I'm cooking. Oh, you're about 45 minutes from Jimbo? Yes, loving Grace. I can't wear red. I can pull off red lipstick sometimes at like Christmas if I'm feeling bold, but it has to be a red that has orange undertones and not blue. Hey, Hakuna. It's so good to see you. So we've done my favorite color, dogs or cats. We did my favorite food. Um, Hobbies as a kid versus today. My hobbies as a child was causing my parents grief. I was still into like crafts and stuff like that, but you know, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. So crafts back then, like I used to cross stitch and do those looms with like the different colored bands, and you would like make pot holders. So that was like crafty stuff. Oh, and a light bright. Oh my gosh, I had a light bright. I had an easy bake oven. I had a Snoopy snow cone machine. Another good channel, if you guys need a break from all the chaos around here, another good channel to find. Go find those channels that show like 80s commercials. Oh, it was heaven. I had no idea there were channels that did that. And it's just like, there's one that does like 2 hours at a time of just like old 80s commercials. It's hilarious. Hey, Chaotic, Deborah Ann. Um, what is, let's see, my style? My style is lazy mom style. Leggings, yoga pants, oversized flannels or hoodies. I have this one hoodie. It's my bazooka bubblegum hoodie, and I shit you not, I've had it for years and years, but it's so comfortable. and I love it. I don't like my feet being hot though. I'm a barefooted kind of girl. If I have to wear shoes, I'm going to wear flip-flops from like the time, like this week I was wearing flip-flops. I don't like shoes. I learned how to walk barefooted and I just don't like them. In the winter, when I have to wear shoes, I usually wear like Uggs or, just some kind of boot. As far as tennis shoes goes, Converse. Um, so I guess my style is comfort. You know, I'm not going anywhere to impress anyone. Although, I do like to get dressed up every once in a while. I'll wear makeup and stuff like that. I'm not just like completely let myself go, but I do like to be comfortable. I don't like to be hot, don't like to be too cold. And that's about it. My biggest regret. That's tough because I have so many. Um, I regret, I know that there were times that, I wasn't the best daughter. I chose my friends over my family a lot when I was younger. Um, so when it came down to the time, like with my mom, we knew she was dying. It was in 2010, and she fell off the back steps at her house, which is now my house. She just got dizzy and she fell. And because she had a head trauma, they took her to University Hospital because that is the trauma center. And they found out that she had stage 4 small cell cancer. It started in her lungs, but at that point it was spread to her brain, her bones, her abdomen. I mean, it was everywhere. And they, they wanted to do, there was an oncologist there because it's a teaching hospital. I get it. They wanted to do the radiation and try chemo, even though it wasn't going to save her. They thought, it might get a couple of months, but we opted not to do that. She didn't want to go through it. I didn't want her to go through it. I had power of attorney. She said, just get me home. So I fought really hard over a Labor Day weekend because they weren't wanting to release her, but I found someone, a hospice center, that helped me get her out of there, and we brought her home. And it was 3 weeks from the day she was diagnosed to the day that she took her last breath. And so in that moment, that was my biggest regret, was that I didn't spend more time with her. At that point, we were living in 2 different states. So I didn't see him very often, but I regretted a lot of the things and the choices I made when I was younger. So that was a bitter pill to swallow when I was sitting there watching her die. With my dad, he died very unexpectedly. It was during that first year of COVID. He had COPD too, and he just had trouble breathing one day. And of course, at that point, he had remarried. He was with my mom almost 50 years. And so it was a lonely couple of years that he found a lady at his church who was a widow. And, they made great companions for each other. Neither one, they had someone in those last years. She's still here, but my dad went to the hospital. None of us could go with him because of COVID. He had to die alone in a hospital room. I don't know how many of you have asthma or any type of respiratory problems, but when you can't breathe, it is one of the scariest experiences I've ever gone through. Um, I've had a couple, like when I get sick, I have to be very careful because it can exacerbate my breathing problems. And there was a time I was standing in my kitchen and it was just me and my son here, and I thought that was the end for me. I couldn't breathe. I started sweating and getting real dizzy, and it sucked. So definitely, if you have any type of asthma or breathing problems or anything like that, please, if you're a smoker, quit. I quit at the beginning of December, and it was the best decision I've ever made. Already, just in that short amount of time, I feel so much better. My body feels so much more capable, just walking from point A to point B. Let's see if there's any more of the. Oh, what are my favorite movies or shows? As far as like TV shows, anything on the ID channel. Um, and it's been that way for years. I've always been into true crime movies. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Um, I don't really have a favorite movie that I can think of. Probably one of my favorites is Steel Magnolias, and that's because my mom and I used to watch it together all the time. And actually, fun fact about that movie, the Christmas festival that's in the movie, that really happens every year. I went to that Christmas festival one year, and we were sitting on the riverbank for the fireworks show, and there was a firework that went off, and there were some people kind of like behind us but over to the side a little bit, and a piece of the firework came down and landed on their blanket, and the lady got burned. Um so yeah, and there was such a crowd of people. I remember my dad putting me on top of his shoulders to just get us through the crowd and get out of there. But yes, that's a real Christmas festival that goes on every year. And when they filmed that Christmas festival, it was in July. So even though it was supposed to be cold in the movie, it was super duper hot. The summers around here are brutal. Um, Very humid, hot, just bleh. It's gross. Let's see. Okay, this one is probably the last one before it starts getting into some of the stuff that goes on around here. Um, it was a three-part question. Why did I choose criminal justice? It took me a long time to come to that decision. I'm not going to lie. I am the type, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. Before I chose to go back to school for this, I was a massage therapist. I also did retail and new build lighting sales. I was in retail management for a number of years. Um, I've done all kinds of things. Why I chose criminal justice. My entire life, I've always liked puzzles. I like to know how things work. I like to figure things out. Also, with writing for the school paper, even though it's just a school paper, you learn the basic questions: who, what, when, where, how, and why. So you can apply those questions to just about anything in life. Um, there were a couple of people that I lost early in life. And, you start to think about why, not just the larger aspect of why did this have to happen? Why did God let this happen? But you think about the mechanics of it. Did this person accidentally get shot? I mean, I was in eighth grade when I lost a friend to an accidental gunshot. And even in eighth grade, I found myself trying to figure out how it could have happened the way they said it happened. It was, gosh, almost, it's 3 years ago. And some people have heard this story, some people haven't. My brother in law, um, we had trouble with him. He was an addict, in and out of rehab a few times. We finally convinced him to go back to rehab one last time because we were done. We were exhausted. And he went, and we thought he was doing pretty well, and he just up and leaves there. Well, he didn't up and leave the rehab because he wanted to go back to using. He stayed clean. Something in him told him that he needed to be out witnessing and ministering to other people. He chose to be homeless. He made a friend. He kind of showed him the ropes of being homeless. And I'm not talking about, crashing different places. He literally lived on the streets of New Orleans. And, we've wanted him to come back home. Christmas had passed. He wasn't here for that. Excuse me. Um, we finally got him to come back home. And he was still clean. He was not eating at all. He was trying to get his life together. He was just happy. And, he was really close to my oldest daughter. She had a rough time with that because we covered up his addiction for a long time. But when the kids got old enough to see what was going on, we couldn't hide it anymore. So she was mad at him for using. And then she was mad at him because he went away. And, she was just going through a lot. And I remember I was sitting on the back porch with him, and I said, you have to fix this with, my daughter. And he said to me, he's like, well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around. And I thought, great, that, he's back here. He's going to just up and leave again. And then everyone's going to be worried about if he's okay. I was kind of ticked off because I was, but a couple of days after that, it was raining real hard one night. And he was walking home. He needed to go get cigarettes. Uh, his mom offered to take him. She's like, no, I'm going to walk. As he was walking home, a 17-year-old kid who had been drinking came speeding down the road, hit him, and killed him. He was like 500 feet away from the front door of his apartment. And we didn't even find out what had happened until the next morning. Because on his ID, it had the address, but it didn't say what apartment number. The DMV left the apartment number off. So the next morning we found out, and it was just, the whole thing was infuriating because it was raining that night. I felt like they didn't do an extensive investigation. This kid left the scene. He went home and went to sleep, and the next morning he told his mom, I think I hit a sign. Well, his mom asked, she's like, well, where did this happen? By then, she had already heard that someone had been killed in that area. And when he told her where, she's like, let's go. And she took him to the police station, and he turned himself in. But by that time, you couldn't do a BAC on him. It had been over 12 hours. So, and then of course, I started getting messages with like videos and people telling me, we know he was drunk that night. I mean, he had a cooler of beer in the back of his truck that the water was still ice cold, but his dad explained it away like, oh, that was from the day before we went hunting. No, it wasn't. But the judge wouldn't allow us to bring anything in as far as alcohol use. He said it was hearsay. Um, the kid walked away. Now, the judge wouldn't let us talk about any drug use or alcohol use, but what the judge sentenced him to was 90 days of outpatient drug and alcohol treatment. So, yeah. At that point, I knew that I wanted to, not that I think that I'm going to be this amazing person that comes in and saves the world and every case is going to be handled properly and, no family will ever have to suffer. No, I don't think that at all. But if I can be that one set of hands that can possibly prevent a family from going through what we went through and the mishandling of our case, then that's the kind of death investigator I want to be. Let's be honest. I'm too old to be a cop. I can't start at the bottom and work my way up to detective. I'm very proficient at case building and just research. Like I said, I like puzzles. I like to know why things are the way they are. But it was that personal experience that led me to criminal justice because in that moment I realized because I think the certain ways that I think, or, because I am interested in puzzles and finding answers and putting things together, that would be the best thing for me. So I chose to go to school to be a death investigator. It's not for the faint of heart. Part of the program is you intern with the coroner and, you see some things. Um, but I want to look at it, not only as from like a scientific aspect, but I want to look at it from the human aspect. It's, I don't know. I want to make a difference in people's lives when it comes to finding the answers they need from the untimely death of a loved one. That's just what I want to do. Um, because of the way I've structured my classes, the next question is what I want to do after school. Um, like I said, I want to go into the field and investigate death scenes. There's a difference in a death scene and a crime scene. Um, but the way I've structured my classes, I will also have certifications in cybersecurity, juvenile justice, and I will also have all my requirements to take my state PI exam, which means I will be exempt from going to the little seminar class thing you do. I've already taken all that. And so I will be taking my private investigation exam. I want to get licensed in multiple states because my big, big dream is I would like to start a nonprofit where I team up with other people, like other private investigators or, DNA experts or, crime scene reconstruction, and provide services for families who don't get justice in their case or their case is just sitting on a shelf cold somewhere. I want to be able to offer services to people who can, do some personal investigation and bring in experts that they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. What's my favorite thing in school? My favorite thing in school is all of it. I like learning all of it. Fingerprints were fun to learn. I loved learning like how to photograph a crime scene. Um, I really like all of it. I like all my electives. I took some form of psychology class um, because I think that that's kind of crucial when you're looking at a crime scene or a death scene as a big picture. You kind of have to understand what someone was thinking in that moment. But I like all of it. I haven't found anything that I don't like yet. Um, okay. A lot of people have asked me how I can support and be a mod for Benny Keys. My answer is this. It's very simple. He's not the big bad monster that everyone thought he was a year and a half ago. Now, don't get me wrong, he's done some foul stuff. Benny's never done anything to me. The worst thing he ever did is when I started with him, he told me I had a big forehead and like said I was on drugs. There's a whole different side to Benny Keys that no one knows about. And I get asked this quite often. Someone asked me, they had made a comment on one of my posts and said that, they think very highly of me, but asked me why I hang out with the troubled children. And if you're not sure who the troubled children are, it's all the people that everyone else doesn't like. Um, so we're just going to go ahead and knock these all out because I've gotten questions about all of them. Um, I've already said what I had to say about Benny. How can I support Jimbo? I'll tell you how I can support Jimbo. When everyone was talking all kinds of crap and things like that, bringing up his marriage, I had questions. I could have easily just sat back and listened to everyone else, but I didn't. I chose to seek Jimbo out. Um, I got his number. We talked. He explained things to me. And to be quite honest, I don't care about his marriage to his first wife 30 years ago. I don't. It doesn't make an impact in my life. And there is nothing that Jimbo has said or done in the time that I've known him that would make me think that he's a pedo. There's just not. Do I agree with everything he does? No, I don't agree with everything that anyone does. But the beauty of it is Jimbo knows that I don't like, it's an understood thing that if I don't agree, he's not going to turn around and make up 100 different things about me because I don't agree. He's a grown up. He can make his own choices. The way he handles things, the way Vinny handles things, the way anybody handles things might be completely different than the way I handle things. Because you got to remember, I'm more of a quiet person. I don't have to get out here and scream and yell and holler and make up rumors and talk about people. It's not worth it. Obviously, it's not changing anything. It's only making everything worse. Sorry, I had to sneeze and I sound like a little elf when I sneeze. It's quite embarrassing. But, yes, okay, I don't allowing my daughter at 12 to marry someone, that wouldn't happen. Back then, it was probably more common than anyone realizes. And I know I've heard people say, oh, well, 12-year-olds don't even look. And yes, 12-year-old girls are quite capable of getting themselves all dolled up and making themselves appear a couple of years older. That's not me like saying, oh, it's all her fault. They were both kids. Whatever was going on in their life brought them together. They were in love, and y'all can't tell me that you haven't ever had a teenager who thinks that their first boyfriend or girlfriend is the love of their life and they're going to get married. It happens all the time. I don't have to agree with the choice that was made 30 years ago. And then it's, oh, he kidnapped someone and took her across state lines. Well, the way he tells it, that's not how it happened. Again, it doesn't impact my life. We've all done things in our life that we wish we would have done differently or that we wish we wouldn't have done at all. I'm not going to hold that crap against someone if it has no bearing on my life in this moment. Now, if I saw signs in him that I thought he was a creep and that he actually liked little girls or something like that, I wouldn't be associating with him at all. But I just don't see the signs. When it comes to another creator, I, we I've been lumped in as being weak or slow or, stupid in some instances because I'm in this person's chat because he's a woman abuser. No, he's not. He, in high school, had a child with someone. And I've never spoken directly to him about this, but this is my assumption of what went down. And then I'll tell you what makes me feel that way. I think that it was a very young, very immature, very volatile relationship. then a child was conceived. I have a feeling the parents of the child's mother was not happy about that. It probably caused a lot of friction between the three, the parents, the girl, and the boy. Life happened. Yes, he ended up leaving the child in the care with the mother. Unfortunately, it happens more than you even know. That does not mean that there isn't one day that goes by where that doesn't gut him like a fish. Everyone wants to say that he was stalking her. He was stalking her because that's what Ernie Shell said. Ernie Shell's the idiot that put out there that W/O means with ongoing. The hell it does. It means without. It's always been the abbreviation for without. I have a feeling that throughout this volatile relationship, there was lots of phone calls being made. Parents didn't want her to talk to him. It was a lot of, she's not here. She can't talk. You need to quit calling, quit coming over, blah, blah, blah. I think that it was the parents that pushed that restraining order. Not that he was out there beating this girl's butt or yelling at her or anything like that. I think the parents wanted him to stay away, and they pushed to get a restraining order because when she was on panel and she talked about how he treated her, she said he had never done anything to her. And everyone can spin it and say, oh, she was, intimidated or she felt forced to say that. That's not my interpretation of the situation. And I really don't give it much thought. I think that any parent that walks away from a child, even if they never admit it, that there is something within them, they have to live with that decision every day of their life. And I think it's wrong to keep throwing that in someone's face. That's my personal opinion. And like I said, I don't know if that's what really happened. But the reason I think it kind of could be is because, like I said earlier, I had a rough time my sophomore and junior year because I had an abusive boyfriend. I had that boyfriend that kept showing up at my house, that kept calling, that kept showing up at my dad's business he owned looking for me. They forced me. I didn't want to go get a restraining order because I felt like if he ever got his hands on me, that I was going to get the beating of a lifetime. But my parents made me, and I was a minor at the time, but it still went in my name because I was the victim. You got a set of parents that walks in a courthouse and tells a judge, this guy is harassing my daughter. The judge is going to sign off on that. There could be more to the story. There could be less to the story. I don't know. There again, it doesn't impact my life. It's really not my business. Now, when it comes to the second person, who, keep in mind, it's not multiple charges. It's one case number, and every time that case number went before the judge or something was changed on it, it was listed again. It was one incident. And if he's listening, yes, I think you were absolutely wrong for grabbing a handful of her hair. I do. There again, I think it was a very tumultuous and volatile relationship. I think there was no trust on either side. I think that fights were a daily occurrence. I think it was wrong that it took place in front of the son. And in that situation, not being together is the best thing for them. And if she's moved on and she's happy, and if he's moved on and found someone and he's happy, more power to him. There's a parenting plan in place. People parent from other states all the time. Now, it goes back to, well, he's abusive to people on here. Yes, he's got a mouth on him. Yes, he's done some crappy things. But when I look at a person and who they are and how they behave, I don't only focus on the bad that they have done. I focus on where they're at right now. Have they admitted that they've done wrong? Have they apologized? Have they tried to do better? Not everyone could come out right away and give someone the apology that they want or that they expect. Sometimes that apology will come in the form of just acknowledging and trying to do better. And when they feel a little more comfortable in their own skin, then that apology will come. Everybody deserves a chance after they've made mistakes in life. They deserve a second chance. Because Lord knows that I have gotten chance after chance after chance in my life when I have let people down or I have, disappointed them. Imagine if my parents never gave me another chance after some of the horrible things I did. Friends that have forgiven me for my shortcomings. None of us are perfect. Even the people that are sitting here judging everyone on a daily basis isn't perfect. And those people that are sitting here judging everyone on a daily basis, I've seen glimmers of goodness in them too. One of them helped me. I was going through a really rough time and I didn't know how I was going to buy milk or bread for my children. And she stepped up and she helped me. And I appreciated that. But I know that by me even giving my opinion of things, I run the risk of having everything in my entire life or everyone related to me brought out into the open. And it shouldn't be like that. Because I know for a fact the only person I come up here and really talked about, and I haven't even been disrespectful, is Ernie Shell. I will never be convinced that Ernie Shell is a good person. So don't bother trying to convince me. And even the people that are playing along and acting like he's this great person who had this brush with death, they're not buying it either, Mr. Lightning Tiger. You're a joke. But other than him, I've never gotten on here and called someone out of their name or just talked horrible shit about someone or made up rumors about them. That's not how I operate. Because just like with other things, I look at a person when they do stuff like this and I try to figure out why. Why are they acting like this? This shit has gotten so personal now that I don't even know that it can be fixed. Hell, it tried to be fixed a couple of days ago, but and this person, she'll know who she is. I'm trying really hard not to call people out by name. She'll know who she is. That truce was not broken. No one was talking about you. Yes, there was a clip and your voice was played, but it was to make fun of Ernie, not you. So now it's just right back to square one. Nobody cares about anyone's personal feelings. No, I would feel horrible about myself if I knew that I was the cause of making someone have a terrible day. And everyone can say that this shit doesn't bother them, that it doesn't matter what people say about them, they're not phased. That's not true. Because if that were true, then you would be a soulless human being. Of course, it bothers people. Of course, it bothers people to have the crap that has been said about them said. So, someone asked me, what do I think of this extreme drama that's going on? I think it sucks. I think it absolutely sucks. I try not to get in the middle of it. I can be cordial to anyone. There's some people that, I thought I knew them to be one way and they turned out to be another way, and that kind of makes me sad. I've had people that I used to get along really well with that I don't even like. I'm in chat rooms with them, but I don't chat. When all this crap first started, it was when the three creators fell out, and it was a big ordeal. Everyone was kind of, you had to choose. I'm not going to choose. If someone wants to make me choose something, I won't. So don't worry about trying. I will just kind of let a situation play out and I'll kind of naturally gravitate to where I'm supposed to be. Um, I don't agree with unloading everyone's freaking criminal history, and because the beautiful thing is there's hundreds, thousands of miles separating, but when you're giving people creeps on the internet people's address and marching these weirdos right up to their front door, that's horrible. That's dangerous, because you never know. It's not only the people that you want to hear this information, it's the psychopaths sitting way in the back that we don't even know are watching that are getting this information. And Stars of Cruise, I will call you out by name, because I think this whole situation that's going on now, you started it, Missy. I blame the guy who took advantage and made someone do something on camera they shouldn't have been doing, but then you immediately right out there just kept it going, kept it going, kept it going. So I think this extreme drama is unhealthy. I think it's sad. I think that you never know what someone is going through in their real life. So why pile on to that? And just because I choose to not be in the middle of all the shit, or because I choose to be in someone's chat that you don't like, that doesn't make me a weak person. I'm not weak at all. I just choose very wisely what I exert my energy on. I think that it has gotten to unnecessary levels, and others have said it too, someone's going to get hurt. Yes, there are people on YouTube who have had rough lives, who have made mistakes in their past. But you know what? Every day, because of what I believe in, I know that every day I wake up and I'm given grace for the day before where I might not have been the best I could be. So, who am I to not extend that grace to someone else? Within reason. There are certain crimes, that just stay away from me if you've partaken in that, because I do have children to protect. I have myself to protect. We just had a situation about a week ago at freaking Walmart. A 23-year-old girl was in the baby section, and next thing you know, the dang SWAT team and stuff were there because three men had been following her around the store for over an hour. And at that point, she realized what they were doing. Well, it turns out that these three men have probably done this before. It happens every day in the real world. There are people that are homebound who look to YouTube to come to feel a part of something and to feel safe and to be able to socialize with people. There's various reasons that people, don't have a lot of interaction in their real life. If health problems keep them stuck at home, that's a reason. In my case, I'm super busy all the time. I don't have a lot of time to, go mingle. So I hang out with people on YouTube. I have a channel that I put into action every once in a while. But I see the comments, I read the comments of people. Nobody should be saying every other day that they need a break, that this stuff is just taking its toll on them. And we as creators have a responsibility where if we see people saying that, the most common response is to say, yes, go take a break if you need it. No, how about quit doing the stuff that's causing them to need a break? there's so many clones accounts and fake accounts and this and that, just so people can feel comfortable going into a chat and chatting with people that they've talked to for the past year. They don't feel like they can anymore, because if they get caught, then what's going to happen to them? This isn't about YouTube drama anymore. It's gotten personal. People are taking cutthroat jabs. And for what? In the end, nobody gets a trophy. Nobody gets a little ribbon. No one gets a medal. No one even gets a freaking cupcake. It takes more energy to be an asshole than it does to just be nice. Just be cordial. You don't have to be friends with everyone. You can block them, or you can just not talk to them. And now everyone's like knowing that these damn memberships are being utilized to flush people out of the bushes. Everyone has a right to sit there and listen if they want to without being made a spectacle. They're sitting there quietly listening because maybe they enjoy it, but they just don't feel like they can chat. Maybe they just want to get another side to a story so they can make their own informed decision themselves. But people are donating these memberships to try to flush people out. And I've seen a couple of people get hit. It's silly. I mean, honestly, hey, sweet sativa, what? Christy, you did leave for a while. It's crazy. It was not like this when I first started my channel. It wasn't. And everything has just changed so much, and it makes me sad. Like when that truce thing was going on the other night, it got a little heated because she didn't want to answer questions. And I had made a comment, and I think it got pinned, that she had people there that truly cared about her. And sometimes you need to answer questions to get that closure you need to be able to move forward. Because honestly, if you don't have closure on certain situations, you're not going to be able to move forward as much as you pretend like you are. It's just not going to work because deep down inside, you're still holding that grudge. You're still pissed off about something. And sometimes people need answers to be able to move forward. Hey, Lulu, maybe their interpretation of something is different. I see crap being taken out of context all the time. I see, half truths being told. I have kind of like a near photographic memory. I can tell you verbatim what someone has said. I see people running comments back and forth trying to relay messages, and by the time it gets from point A to B, it's been changed around so many times. That's what happens. And it's not that people are doing it intentionally, although sometimes they are. But I don't know. The real life crap, enough's enough. Everyone wants to know how I feel about, the SWAT call. Well, I don't think it was fizz crank. Sorry, I don't. And the fact that I don't doesn't make me a bad person. It has nothing to do with, just me being stuck to that creator side that it involved and I'm going to support them no matter what. No. It has to do with the fact that that voice in the phone call did not sound like fizz crank. The end. I don't know. At some point, someone has to throw in the towel and just stop. Just stop. And if someone uses a freaking sticker of your face as an emoji, is it that big a deal if they're not talking trash about you? If you're not over there looking at it, do you really know? And if people are coming and reporting back to you saying, hey, they used your face on a sticker, tell those people, I don't want to know. If they're not talking about me and they're not bothering me, I don't want to know. You have a right to do that. You have a right to at any time saying, I don't want clips. I don't want messages. Don't tell me what someone's saying about me. If everyone would just not worry about being responsible for everyone else, let's just focus on being responsible for ourselves and think about things before we do them. I made a nice Valentine's Day post for everyone, and someone felt compelled to leave a comment letting me know to subtract a sub. And I commented back and I'm like, you couldn't have found a better place to do this. I'm trying to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day and you're here being an asshole. And their response was, well, if you saw it, it was the right place. Well, too fucking shay. Okay? Because my response to you, you said that you wanted to unsub because of comments I made in chat. We'll tell you something, Missy. You are the one who commented in a chat and said that another subscriber was proof that aborted babies can survive. So don't come to me announcing your departure saying that I've said some vile crap in comments, because I know that I haven't. I might giggle at some stuff in comments because even though some of this stuff that people say is insulting as hell, some of it's kind of funny and it makes me think, why can't I be that witty? I'm not saying it's right. I laugh at inappropriate times just like everybody else. But this shit is next level. This is like, I mean, you can't even level up like you do a video game. This is nuts. And what is it going to take to get it to just stop? Because I know it's nothing that I say that's going to get through to anybody to make it just stop. It's to the point now where people have to make their own conscious effort to just stop it. There's so many other things to talk about. Do your little review of people if you want to, and then move it along. I know that now it's, becoming tit for tat and everyone trying to one up the other one. I know that there's people that have been hurt because pictures have been shown or text messages have been released. I get it. It stings a little. It stings a lot. But why are these things happening? You have to look at why these things are happening. And if one person stops, a behavior to help alleviate it, and then another person stops, and then another person stops, it'll all come together. So, long story short, what I think of this extreme drama is I think that it is wasted energy. I think that nobody can really trace it's so far gone now that nobody can trace it back to the beginning and try to place blame on anyone, because I know that's always a point of contention. Well, they started it. I heard someone say yesterday, well, if they're asking for it, oh, it was the same person that told me that they had to unsub because I'm such a meanie in comments. This person said, I like to live, to treat others the way you want to be treated. And then she followed that up with, but if they're asking for it, what are you supposed to do? If they're asking for it, you're supposed to be an adult and walk the fuck away. That's what you're supposed to do. But now everyone's dragging people's families into it and their children and their parents, whether living or deceased. It's just wrong. And that's just my 2 cents. I mean, I don't know, you guys. Just hang in there. My thing is support who you want to support, even if you have to support them quietly to, keep yourself safe and everything in your life intact. I'm going to watch who I want to watch because, like I said so many times before, I'm not going to just take someone's word for it. If someone wants to prove to me that someone is this horrible person, I'm going to need to see tangible proof. Like, I'm going to need to see it. I'm going to have to be able to touch it and look at it and read it. I'm not just going to take anyone's word for anything when it comes to stuff like that. You basically have to make a case with me if you want to sway my opinion. You know, that's just the way it is. And I make no apologies for who I choose to like or support. I'm still going to be at the stand, probably not every night because I go to bed early. So I watch the replay in the morning. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to watch people that I don't particularly care for. It's not that I don't care for them as a person because honestly, I don't know everyone on like a personal level. Some people I know a little better than others. I keep my circle small. I'm still going to listen to Benny. I'm still going to listen to rap. I still have a wrench at Benny's. I don't plan on giving it back. When I'm there, I'm not there as his best friend. I'm there to keep his channel secure. Just because you hold a wrench for someone, it doesn't mean that everyone's working together behind the scenes. And I'll admit there's some people that are. They talk to each other every night. They share all this information, and that's great. I'm happy to see people form relationships because Lord knows the world is a shithole right now. People need relationships. They need friendships just to get through the day sometimes. But sometimes people real life is 10 times more horrible than this YouTube crap could ever be. So can everyone just give it a shot? Just go a couple of days without talking crap to each other and, see what happens. It doesn't have to be some big old spectacle with, rules 1A through 45C. There was a lot of clauses with that truce the other day. It was made way more complicated because someone kept throwing in rules after the fact. Nobody really knew. All I know is that no one was talking crap about you, and then voila, the truce is broken. Here we are. But it wasn't really broken. And you should have went over there and checked for yourself. I know you say that they're not going to lie to me. I trust them. It's not necessarily lying. Sometimes it's just an exaggeration or just not knowing the whole truth. Maybe they didn't see it firsthand. I don't know. We're all adults, right? I mean, I know that I wouldn't want my kids coming on here and seeing me do something that would embarrass them. It might not embarrass me, but if it embarrasses them, I don't want to do it. I'm not here to ruin someone's day or make them feel bad about themselves. But the people that I've chose to form relationships with, I know that I could go to them and be like, look, I don't think you should have done this. And they would hear me out. Do I expect them to change everything they do and conform to what I say they should do? No. But if I'm going to even remotely claim someone as my friend, then I need to be that friend that tells them, look, you messed up and it's okay. So, unless anyone has any more questions for me, I think I've answered all of them. Yes, real life is hard enough. It is sad that you can't come to YouTube just to unwind and laugh. I get it. Daryl Brooks, are you serious? No, I don't want to take advantage of people. I do think the truce was doomed from the beginning. I do. Because everything has shot off in so many different directions now that it can't just be an agreement between two people. It has to, everyone has to come to an understanding. And one thing that kind of, I don't know, like at one point, everyone was friends, remember? And all this stuff that, like all the stuff that one person's doing and everyone's complaining about, well, the person was doing it then and you're laughing the whole time. So I'm definitely not going to hold something against someone when I was there right beside them participating in the moment. Yes, only believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. And the reason you believe half of what you see is, like I said, everyone's interpretation is different. The way I interpret something might not be the way Kara interprets it or Lil G interprets it. But not everything has to be a uniform echo chamber where we're all marching the same way and having the same opinion. Be bold, be yourself, express your opinion and your thoughts and your feelings. And if someone tries to belittle you or make you feel less than because of your thoughts and opinions, then is that person truly a friend? Is that person truly a friend if you feel like you have to conform or compromise yourself in any way, shape, or form to please them? And I don't think that I'm holier than thou or better than anyone else. I make just as many mistakes every day, if not more. I will fall short every day until the day I die, but every day that I wake up, I have a chance to do better and be better. And I will seize that opportunity. And I'm the type of person that if I do or say something that makes someone feel bad or makes that person cry or makes that person doubt themselves, then I feel horrible. I don't want to bear that burden. I've always taught my kids, if you can make one person smile every day, then you've made a difference in the world. That's something small that we can all do every day to make a positive difference in the world that we live in the world that we raise our children in. Make someone smile. Give someone a compliment. Let me see. I'm going back through comments. So I hope that everyone got to know me a little better with some of these questions. Oh, thank you, Lulu. Well, I'm happy that all of you are here with me today. And you notice, like if I would have been talking about Ernie or something today, we would have had 3 times as many people. And I get that. I mean, the drama brings the people in. It's like a double edged sword. I don't know. As much as it makes everyone miserable, people can't get enough of it and they want to be there for it. Everyone has a different reason for being there. I'm there for it too. I'm watching and listening too. Maybe not right in that moment, but I listen to some replays because I want to see the full picture. Yeah, if Cash App shut down and YouTube stopped paying out, it might stop. It would definitely change course a little bit for sure. But I mean, I haven't been monetized for a while. I can turn mine on at any time. And here's a good comment. If it's real, then these YouTubers are very selfish, exposing their friends and family to these risks. Yeah, I understand that. But it goes back to everyone's like, there's this one creator whose favorite line to say is, everyone has a right to be here. We have a right to defend ourselves. We have a right to our opinion. Yes, but do you have to harp on the same thing day in and day out? If you don't like someone, just don't like them. You don't have to be involved with the person. When you start harping on the same stuff that really has nothing to do with you, then you're just trying to butt in and get in the middle of drama. And yes, like if I saw crap going downhill and my family was at risk, I would probably take a long, hard look at how I wanted to proceed. But the thing is people should be. I mean, it's expected. That it's a risk go to it because everyone thinks that, oh, we're just these big public figures and we deserve, people have a right to know everything about us. Well, no, that's not true. So I mean, it's a wishy-washy kind of situation. You kind of can't win for losing. But if anyone wants to pay out, my cash app is $ chasing justice. I don't expect you to pay me though. Every dollar helps. Trash cable. Is that like reality? Oh, that is one of my favorite shows. I love the reality trash TV. I love it. One of my favorite shows ever. It doesn't come on anymore, but it was Bad Girls Club. Those bitches were crazy. I think my favorite season was when like Genevicia and Cordelia and Tanisha were on there. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I like those reality shows. All the Real Housewives, Below Deck and Below Deck Med. Yeah, I watched all that stuff. I just stream everything now. But when I had Xfinity, whew, now I can't afford all the different streaming services to get all the different. I find ways of getting them. But I had fun with you guys today. It was a good. Oh yes, Rob. Oh, I used to watch the Osbournes with my dad. Oh, my dad used to sit there and say, "What is he saying?" He could never understand what Ozzy was saying. Well, legit, you don't need reality shows because you have YouTube. But it was fun to just hang out with you for a little bit, and I mean, we had to touch on the drama a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I answered every question. Yes, Bravo is my favorite. Remember when MTV, oh my gosh, the little spaceman, and it was Friday night video fights? Funny story before I wrap this up. I'm about to have to go to the bus stop. But over this summer, I used to spend like weeks at a time at my mama's house. And They did Friday night video fights, and it was Madonna versus someone else. I don't even remember who. But I called like at least 30 times, if not more, and voted for Madonna. Because, see, Madonna and I have the same birthday, same month and day, just different year. And I was a big Madonna fan when I was younger. And so I called and voted. And then it was like I had forgotten all about it. But a couple of weeks later, my memo called my dad. Oh, I didn't know that those phone calls were like $1.99 a piece. I got in so much trouble. Well, I really didn't get in that much trouble. I had to do a lot of chores to pay my memo back because back then that was a lot of money. But that was fun. Hey, crazy nurse. So, I don't know if anyone thinks of any other questions that they want to ask me that I didn't cover. Leave it down in the comments under this video and I'll go back and read them and I'll answer them right there. I'm pretty much an open book. Except when it comes to my personal private details of my life outside of YouTube. I don't feel like that's anyone's business. Yes, the phone party lines. In my area, it used to be called phone friends. And you could like call after school and just like chit chat with people or get help with homework. Now you can't do anything like that. There's no telling who will end up on the other end of the line. If everyone could just, you know, try to lift each other up out there. I know there's a lot of mommies in here who have sick children or, there people are just dealing with a lot. So the people that you see and interact with on a daily basis, just remember them in your prayers or your good thoughts, your well wishes, whatever you believe. And even do all those things for the people that you don't care for. Because what I believe is that God can work miracles. Maybe there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. Who knows? All I know is if we don't make the independent decision for ourselves to be better, it'll never get better. Because we can only control ourselves. We're only one piece to the puzzle. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up so I can let the dogs in and go get Mini Me from the bus stop. But hug your loved ones. Make someone smile because you're not promised tomorrow. Make each moment count for something good, and I will see all of you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone, and be safe out there.